Welcome back, everyone. Well, today I was planning on doing a reaction video, but instead some information has appeared on YouTube that I feel like I need to address. A while back, I did a video talking to you about the dangers of using AI and passing it off as real. Specifically, a channel called Band of Brothers TV that was using AI to recreate actual interviews, but using AI voices, but then claiming that they were the real recordings from 40 plus years ago of these men, even though it was very clear that it wasn't, and I showed you the evidence of that. Well, I want to update you on that, but before I do that, I want to go back. I wasn't planning on going back to that channel, even though the creator of that channel continues to block and delete any comments that call her out for the things that she's doing or point out mistakes that are being made. But I saw another one posted today, which was clear misinformation, and I'm going to show you the evidence that it's misinformation. And then I just want to show you what happened after the last video that I made, because the person actually tried to come after me and even threaten legal action. So I'm going to update you on all of that. But first, I just want to show you this. And this is not a personal vendetta against that channel. This is about making sure that people aren't falling for false information, because there's a lot of it out there. When anybody can make YouTube videos, myself included, it's important that we can trust the information that we're learning. And there are a lot of people who are trusting that channel to provide information that is just not accurate. So the post that I'm talking about today is actually a post of a map that claims to show things that it isn't really showing. So I'm going to show you the map, I'm going to show you what was posted, and then I'm going to show you the evidence that shows that this person just is not telling you the truth. Okay, so we're starting here. Band of Brothers TV posted this. It says, I've been asked to provide a map with the landing locations on D-Day, but that would be quite an undertaking. This map was created by Bill Brown, one of the pilots of the 439th Troop Carrier Group. It shows Lieutenant Meehan's crash site, 666, with Lieutenant Harry Welsh almost landing on top of the burning C-47. Most of the men of Easy Company landed in this area. Now, I take exception to the most of the men landed in this area. A lot of them did. In fact, I've stood there on some of the sites. Like, we stood in the exact spot where Carwood Lipton landed. And the reason we know where some of these sites are is because we were there with a really well-respected World War II Normandy historian who went to these sites with some of these people like Carwood Lipton, who said, this is where I landed right here. So we know those kinds of things, right? So Paul Woodage is top notch. If you're not familiar with him, Paul's like one of the go-to guys, right? I mean, he knows his stuff, and he's been there with these people. So anyway, here's the map. And it says down here, south of, this is Saint-Mère-Église, which is a really cool town if you ever get the chance to go. And south of Saint-Mère-Église, to the right of this north-south road, because here's north, going that way, is this C-47 crash site. And right next to it, it says Lieutenant Welsh landed right here. So it's saying this is Meehan's plane. That's what Band of Brothers TV is claiming. And I commented under that. Now you can see my comment, but nobody else can see my comment because I'm blocked. So if you go there, you won't see that comment. And I said, listen, I'm trying to help you out. This is not right information. You need to delete this. So how do I know? How do I know that this, because all it says is C-47. It doesn't say Meehan's C-47. It doesn't say Stick 66 crashed here. There was a C-47 that crashed there, and I'm going to show you whose plane it was, because we know which plane it was. It wasn't that one. Here's why I know that Meehan's plane didn't crash south of Saint-Mère-Église, because we know where it did crash. In fact, you can see the spot where it crashed, so I want to show you that. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. First of all, the D-Day crash site. So here's an actual photo of that plane. I'm going to zoom in and show it to you here. That's an actual photo of what was left of Meehan's plane. It obviously had a lot of fuel. It burned up. There was very little left of it. Very little left as far as the remains of the men. They're in, I think with the exception of one of the pilots, the remains are in a mass grave in Missouri is where they're all buried. Okay, so let me show you a map here. What they're claiming, Band of Brothers TV is claiming, is that right over in this area, down here, just southeast of Saint-Mère-Église, to the right, or to the east, it would be, of the main road that runs in the town. And you can see this here. I mean, you can see real easily how this map overlays with the one that they posted. I'll show you again so you can see. Okay, so here's that kind of bend out right there. Here's that main road running through. And so we're talking right in this area here, right? But here's where Meehan's plane crashed. It actually crashed right outside of the village of Beuzeville-au-Plain. And how do we know that? Well, number one, that's where they put the monument for it. And number two, you can actually still see the ground where it happened, because it actually, because of the way that the fuel burned, crops have, it's a farm field, and the crops have never grown in that spot. It continues to be dead to this day. The exact spot. We know the exact spot. We were taken to the spot. I've stood there with a World War II historian, right? So if you go right into the town here, and we zoom into the village, you'll see the memorial to the men who died in that crash. It's right there. That is the memorial to the men of Stick 66, the company headquarters section, including Lieutenant Meehan, First Sergeant Evans. Their names are all listed right there. That is the memorial. You walk down this farm lane, and just to the right, that's where the crash site is. So let me go back out, and I'll show you like literally where the plane crashed. Zoom right into the exact spot. Okay, so right down this farm lane, and you just turn to the right. You can't go out to the exact spot, but right there, you can literally see the scar. That is the scar from the plane crashing. And that picture we looked at was taken right over here, looking toward this way, and you can see this line of trees in that photo. Let me show you the photo again, right? Right there it is. So this is that farm lane just behind those trees right there. That's the spot where Meehan's plane crashed. And just to give you further evidence of that, there's a number of places where you can look at that. Here's D-Day Tours Normandy. They talk about it. Here right there, the aircraft actually crashed in the field behind the hedgerow in this photograph. Yes, that's where it was. Here's another site, the one where I got that photo from, and it goes into detail about plane number 66 and where it crashed, and the monument being dedicated in 2000 at Beuzeville, listing the names of those aboard who on the downed C-47. So that is exactly the spot. It was northeast of Sainte-Mère-Église. It is not what Band of Brothers TV is telling you on the map is where it happened. But we do know whose plane that is that's on that map. So let me show you that. So the website 6JUIN, which is Juin, which is French for June, 1944.com, actually goes into detail researching the crash sites of these various C-47s. And they address this specific crash site, which is the one that is to the right, to the east of the north-south road, south of Sainte-Mère-Église. It's the exact one shown on that map. And initially it was thought to be the crew of one from the 313th TCG. Let's zoom in a little bit and show you this a little better. But they've proven that one actually, those guys washed up on the beach. It wasn't them. But here we do know who it was. It was a plane piloted by a guy named Lieutenant Marvin Muir, a C-47, that crashed in that exact site. We have photos of it. There's the crash site. This is looking... Sainte-Mère-Église would be to our bottom left in this photo. So this is that exact one. They've got all the information here. They got the exact, here you go, right there. There's the crash site, south of Sainte-Mère-Église. Let's go back and look at Band of Brothers TV. That's the one they're talking about, is this one right here. We know for a fact that this was a troop transport plane that the guys had already jumped out of the plane when it went down. And the men who were on that it's from the 93rd TCS 439th Tactical Carrier Group. Second Lieutenant Marvin Muir, Second Lieutenant Kenneth Bell, Second Lieutenant John Marisset, Sergeant Philip Snyder, Staff Sergeant Clifford Burgess. And it does have a passenger. He might have been wounded. That happened if a guy got hit from flak before they jumped out. They might have still been on board. So it looks like it was a guy from the 506 Parachute Infantry, 2nd Battalion Headquarters. Simi Irvin, a sergeant. That's who was on that plane. That was not Lieutenant Meehan's plane, and there was only one paratrooper that was still on board when it went down. that's the one. So please, 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 I'm telling you, this person is passing themselves off as some kind of historian who knows what they're talking about, and they're giving you bad information. So just a couple of closing things I want to point out. First of all, I want to definitely suggest you check out my friend JD's video from that site on the History Underground. I'll post a link down in the description. I'll put it as the pinned comment. I'll also throw it up on the screen here at the end so you can see it. He did a video where they went to the exact site, and you can actually see they actually got access to it and stood on the exact spot. And he shows you exactly where that plane crashed to further kind of confirm that information. But just as a follow-up, I wanted to fill you in on something that has nothing to do with this and really isn't a big deal, but I thought you'd be interested. In the aftermath of the video that I made where I called out Band of Brothers TV for lying about using AI voices and passing them off as real recordings of Easy Company veterans from the 1980s, the woman who runs that channel actually filed a copyright strike against me, claiming that I used her entire video, which is, first of all, not true. I used like a 2-minute clip of it, which you can see. Second of all, doesn't matter. I was using her video as commentary, which is considered fair use by YouTube, and YouTube has always done it that way. So first of all, she lied to YouTube about how much of the video I used, which is really easy to see. And then YouTube came back and said, no, we consider this fair use. There's nothing here. We're not going to agree to your copyright claim. So then she appealed it. And when she appealed it, it gives me her entire document of what she filled out. YouTube copies that to me. So I got to see her full name, her email address, which I'm not going to share here because my point is not to dox this person, but now I know their information, which means if they ever do what they've already done once, which is delete their channel and start a new one and pretend to be someone else, I'll know it's them when it happens. But she went on this long rant saying that she was considering legal action against me for what she said was clear libel, which I just want to say, Band of Brothers TV, if you're watching, please do that, because what will happen then is you've got to show proof that I'm lying and you're telling the truth, which means you're going to have to produce those precious recordings that you claim you won't let anyone have because you don't want them using it. You said that only the doctored versions, the cleaned up versions of the videos that you've posted online are accessible to everyone, but the originals you're keeping, you won't tell us where you got them, and you won't let any of us hear them because you're afraid people will use them and you're not going to go to all that work. Well, please file a lawsuit. So you have to prove it in court. Let's do it. Let's go. Come on. In all seriousness, though, it's not my goal to continually attack another channel, but I will continually attack bad history. And if somebody's portraying something as being true when it's not, and they're claiming to be some sort of expert, and they delete anyone who speaks the truth and is trying to make sure people know that what they're saying isn't accurate, I'm going to call that out. And since she deletes any comment that disagrees with her, the only thing I'm left to do is to post it on my own channel where she can't moderate it. With all of that said, if you disagree with me on any of this, let me know in the comment section below, because I don't delete comments just for disagreeing with me. I don't delete comments for pointing out when I make a mistake, because sometimes I do. In fact, I welcome that. My goal is not to get more views. It's not a bad thing. I want more views. I'm more concerned about accuracy. And if somebody comments on my video and says, hey, you're wrong about this, and I go and check it out and say, oh, wow, you're right, I was wrong, you'll very often see that I actually pin that person's comment. I not only don't hide it. If somebody points out a mistake and they're right, I'll pin that comment because I want you guys to know the facts and I want you to know the truth. So often if you see a mistake in my video and you go to comment on it, check first to see if I pinned a comment, because it may be that I already pinned a comment. This happened just the other day. I made a mistake in a recent video where I said the wrong thing, and I can't remember exactly what it was now, but like 10 people pointed it out. Hey, you screwed up. This is not accurate. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're 100% right about that. And I pinned a comment pointing out that I was wrong. That's how it should be done. Our goal here is accurate history, not BS being passed off as being true. I hope you understand the difference. Please check out my friend JD's video about that from the site. Thanks for watching.